Alright, I'll try to make this video short and sweet. Not a whole lot of feet. I don't know. It's trying to rhyme. I don't know why that I did it, but well, Kiwi Farms is no more. I browse Kiwi Farms a little bit, mostly for talking about like Chris Chan and various other locales. You know what I'm gonna say? I'm gonna say this is that I'm gonna give a very cope response, and there's a fair amount of copium that I'm huffing on here, but I'll go ahead and just give it out. So I think this will allow a lot of folks to go offline. I think. And I think that what you're going to see is less posting on the internet, which I think is good. Now, of course, some people are going to find their back doors and whatnot, and they're addicted to the internet. I get it. But I think that there's going to be some folks who just go offline, and they're able to go back to like kind of a samizdat sort of, sort of attitude, where it's just like, they're posting their manifestos, they're, putting out newspaper stuff or whatever, their little articles. And I think that's what's going to occur with the future of the internet. As the internet continues to be more and more censored, I think this was going to happen. People are just going to go back to a time when you just get a newsletter sent to you by mail, and it's in like a brown paper wrapper, shit like that, You think about, I'm not even going to say their name. I'm thinking it, but I'm not going to say it. There's a place where you can buy Wignat material, I'll put it that way, Wignat material, but you can't, get it through Amazon or through whatever. You send them a check, wait for that check to come through, and then they send it to you. And so, I mean, who knows? It could be a Fed op too. Everything at this point is just a Fed op, it seems like. But in all seriousness, I think that's where it's going. Like I say, in many ways, we are returning to tradition. We're returning to another time. A time that's been long forgotten because of the internet. Now, without the endless 4chan boards or the whatever of people just spewing the N-word, this and that, I think it's going to be a different time. We are returning to a time when you have to be somewhat more convincing. You can't simply just go off and just, start spewing, racial slurs and whatnot. That gets boring anyway, after a while, to be quite honest with you. But I do think that's where we are headed. We're headed towards that sort of time. So I would say keep your head up, folks. Don't concern yourself. Number one, don't concern yourself with that dog. But don't concern yourself with, these, they won or something like that. Don't let some ex-Canadian Communist Party member who praised Stalin and shit like that now becomes like more of a, I support, things are supposed to go like this. I had no idea who that was. For the longest time, I had no idea. And you know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to specifically say their name because I'm not going to catch their wrath. But I will say that someone with the last name of Sorrenti, there you go, that's all I'm going to mention. But apparently he, was like, he had made plenty of posts that were ratioed on Twitter by everybody, including the libs. And now his kind of, morphed into a lib themselves in many ways. Like I say, I'm being very cautious, but I think that, this is somebody who thinks that somehow they got a victory. It's like, to me, that, you may have won the battle, but you haven't won the war. That's my opinion. And I think that's very much the truth of it. Ultimately, a lot of lefty ideas promote this idea of just like, oh, well, we just want peace and love and all that. And all these reactionaries, they just promote hate and they want everybody dead and all this sort of thing. It's like, that's our line. That's Sam Hyde's line is, they want you dead and they'll laugh about it. But always be cautious of somebody that promotes peace. I'm going to put it that way. And it's very much so, is that I think that, this particular person who took down Kiwi Farms, or at least is the public face of it, thinks that somehow that they can reform these folks and whatnot. It's like, no. There's not going to be another, let me think of this very carefully here. There won't be another, what the hell is his name? Caleb Cain. Another Caleb Cain is not going to come around. Because ultimately that was a that was a fed off anyway, and that person's 15 minutes of fame quickly died. They're not quite worth anything anymore. What the hell am I saying at this point? I'm trying to keep it pointing down to the ground here so nobody can figure out where I am. But you probably could if you really tried. What I will say is, don't be discouraged. There's a lot to be discouraged about, but I think that, do I think you'll win? No. Winning and losing are not this, are very all-encompassing sort of ideas. It's just like winning and losing don't really matter. Life and death do matter. And I think that one thing is that the winners, a lot of the time, may emulate a lot of what the so-called losers do. I was watching one of those people's profiles about good old the Protestant guy. What the fuck was that nigga's name? Oh my goodness, I just watched it last night too. Cromwell. There we go. About Cromwell and him talking about the he was considered a radical, this and that, but ultimately he was a moderate. It's very cope sort of stance. Ultimately, of course, Cromwell was sacrificed by King Henry VIII because, yeah, he was a bit of a prat. Yeah, he may have done some good things in terms of the system, I guess, and maybe helped provide, what is the beginning of welfare. Good, bad, right, or wrong. I don't know. You could see it as a dub, I guess. But what I would say is, ultimately, he was executed. And he was executed painfully because they couldn't do it in one chop. They couldn't cut his head off in one chop. They had to do like multiple takes of somebody getting the axe out and putting it on, at least according to this video. And so, you think to yourself, it's like, holy shit. Well, ultimately, it's one of those things where the Catholics ended up getting their revenge to a point. Now, of course, eventually, the UK became kind of a Prot headquarters, much the same way as, obviously, Germany became a big Protestant country overall. And became a fairly small Catholic, in terms of belief. And of course, this is something that Catholics, especially on Twitter, will use, like, oh, this is how many people actually voted for Hortler versus this many people and whatnot. But I think at the end of the day, where the fuck was I going with this? I don't even know. I don't even care. Is getting offline is probably for the best. Yeah, I'm still a fair amount addicted to the internet, but my body can't really take it. Beyond 8 o'clock usually, that blue light will fuck up my eyes and it'll keep me awake. And I'll be tired as hell the next day. It's one of those things where you have sleep. So I'll be awake, but then be dreaming at the same time, so I can hear, like, the AC blowing and shit like that. But I won't be able to, but I'll still be able to hear the AC fan going. It's a very fucked up thing. Very, very weird feeling. Let's go ahead and just wrap this old burrito up here and just say that, ultimately, the extremist, the radical, will always be sacrificed for the moderate and the person who wants to maintain stability. Notice I didn't say the word peace. Peace in itself is a fantasy. Stability is what a society needs. People want a stable currency. They want stable housing markets, or they want, a stable supply of food or whatever. Stability is much more valuable than peace. Peace is that's just hippy-dippy nonsense, I should probably do a separate video on that, of peace versus stability. Maybe I'll record that tomorrow and give you my very retarded takes on that. But anyway, holy shit, I've been going for too damn long. Anyway, hopefully y'all enjoyed this or something. I don't know. Whatever you may think, folks. So, see you later. Goodbye.